Security Halt podcast is proudly sponsored by Titan SARS, Precision Wellness Group, and Pure Liberty Labs. You have to look at functional fitness. You have to look at things like what's going to keep me around my kids and my wife and make me feel better. Like, can I fall back into running? Can I get back into like doing the gym workouts that I enjoy, but in a smarter way?
Right. Yeah, that's where I'm trying to like gravitate towards, just because the numbers in soft are going down, dismal.
Yeah,
Like
man.
it's dropping. My numbers have dropped exponentially in the last 2 years. And since I am older, I'm going to start hitting the veteran and older population just because of my breath work and mobility work that I do.
Yeah. And it's important stuff like that we hyper focus on the way we used to work out when we were kids, when we were like brand new on a team. And we think like that's what working out is. Like, yeah, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to do 1,000,000 reps till I cough up blood. Then I'm going to, drink some more pre-workout and get back to the house and do some work. And it's like, dude, like, no, like that's not reality.
I'm not even, I don't even do pre-workout. I can't stand pre-workouts.
Yeah.
Not at my
Yeah.
age. When I was younger, I don't know if you remember a thing called Ultimate Orange back in the day.
Dude,
That was the bomb diggity.
my favorite was Jacked 3D, the original formula, because it was methamphetamines. A whole generation of military dudes jacked up off meth and they didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it. I think that's what Ultimate Orange was too. You know what I mean? They got banned. Like they got taken off the shelf. It was so bad.
Yeah. Well, do you remember Steer Nutrition's at Bragg?
I heard of it, but I never went there. No,
it was just like the mecca for supplements and other supplements.
Yes.
Had dudes in a Q course waking up like, I'm blind, I can't see. What are you on? I'm on Steer Nutrition's ultimate stack of workout products.
Yeah, not a good fit.
Oh man, yeah, that's but yeah, dude. Today, Kevin Edgerton of 18 Alpha Fitness. I want to dive into your journey, man. I want to dive into everything that made you want to do this, and start it off, man. Take us back to that young, uh, bushy-eyed, just seeing the world full of wonderment as he's coming into the regiment.
Wow, coming into the regiment, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that journey in itself to get to the regiment was a long and audacious one. It was, man. I went to selection in '95. Didn't make it, broke every metatarsal in my foot and both feet.
Holy shit.
I mean, every one was destroyed. I came out of first calf, so I didn't really know what rucking was.
Death before dismount.
Death before dismount, right? And so I trained up all wrong. I had a big old, a Gucci, literally a nice, really rucksack. And I was rucking with 85 pounds on concrete. And, when you get to Bragg and you go to selection and it's nothing but sand, man, golly, that sand broke me off. And then what I call my Cadillac rucksack, I got demoted to a Pinto, with the old Alice pack. And God, if you just don't train with the right equipment, it breaks you off. And
Yeah,
I
man.
broke off and I came back, you know what I mean? The doc was like, hey, you can continue, but both your feet are going to be broken. You're going to have to wait like 18 months to even start the Q course, or you can come back in a year. And I was like, well, what would you do? He's like, I'd come back in a year. And I was like, okay. So I went back in 96. Yeah, and finally got selected. But then go to airborne school from first cav after you tell everybody in first cav, fuck you, I'm done. I'm going to be a Green Beret. And I'm at the airborne school, night jump. I broke my left ankle. Yeah.
Fuck.
And you know what I mean? And I even had, it was so bad then that I had my orders and my jump log in hand. I had them. And you know what I did? With my integrity, I was like, hey, like, I didn't do this last jump, man. He's like, oh, really? He took the certificate. And he's like, hey, go see the S1 guy. I went and talked to him, the operations. The guy took a black marker across the fifth jump. And I was like, well, what am I supposed to do now? He's like, oh, just go to Bragg. You can do your fifth jump at Bragg within 6 months and you're good. So I drive up to Bragg with a cast in and I'm like 3 days in processing. And at this time I was going to be a Delta and, get a knock on the door. It's a Green Beret. You know how that pucker factor is, right? And this is that's when the 18 Delta compound had just gotten built.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how long ago it was. That thing had just gotten built. So I go down and see that lady on wherever it was at, and she's like, "I got bad news and I got worse news." I'm like, "What? Bad news and worse news?" I was like, "Okay." She's like, "What do you want here for?" I was like, "Well, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Bad news, worse news. So just shoot." And she's like, "Well, the bad news is you can't start the Q course." And I'm like, "Well, legs broke. I got it. It's in the cast. I got that." She's like, "The worst news is since you were TDY en route from one school to another school, and since you didn't complete the school prior, you can't start this one, which means you have to go back to your original duty station." I cried right there
Oh,
in that lady. I was
fuck.
like, "No way." And so I got back to Hood, and 3.5 years later, after 2 surgeries in my left ankle, I finally got to the Q course and finished with finishing up right when 9/11 happened.
Man, I got to ask, were you a man of faith back then?
Not so much, not as much as I am now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
A lot of choice words for God back then, I can only
Yes,
imagine.
yes, 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 I did. Yeah, yeah.
Dude, well, how did you persevere? How did you develop resilience in those 3 years of waiting, man? Like, I know a lot of friends that went through the Q course, had an issue, they weren't airborne, something happened, and they just gave up. They just gave up. Like, what kept you in that mindset of like, "I'm gonna see this thing through"?
Have you ever been in first calf?
No, I have not.
I did 6 NTC rotations every year. The year would start off, we would do squad sticks, platoon sticks, company sticks, battalion sticks, and then final evaluation was NTC every year. Clockwork, heavy mech, and I was a combat engineer at that. And I don't know if you know what that means. That
Oh,
means
yeah.
that means laying out minefields for infinity and beyond. I mean, picket pounding to death. Every time you're in the field. So
Yeah,
yeah, no, thank you. I was not doing that no more. That's
man.
what kept me motivated, bro. I just could not do it.
Man. Gosh, that must have been a relief finally getting that cleared hot, getting the
Right.
training.
Yeah, I did. It was a great feeling. Got up the first group though. Put me right into the SIG det. Was working out there and uh, got I was a senior E6 at this time. Like I'm 6 years in, 6 years as a E6, getting, you know what I mean, get to finally
Yeah,
get the group. And the E7 list just came out and my name's not on it. And I go see my sergeant major and he's like, "Hey," I was like, "Hey, why?" He's like, "Bro, your clock just started all over." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, you're a brand new 18 Echo. You're not Jumpmaster qualified. You're not Ranger qualified. You're not Halo. You're not Scuba. You're not anything." So he's like, "You basically just started over." I was like, "What?" You know what I mean? And
yeah,
this was one of those years. It was like it wasn't going to be another board for 3 years or something like that because it was at like 2002. And he's like, "It's going to be," you know what I mean? You just knew, you
yeah,
know what I mean? Perscom put the memo out. And so it was going to be 18 months, 18 months. And then the sequence number could be 18 months. So a total of 3 years, before I pinned on E7. I was like, the 9. And I was like, mm-mm. And I had college. So I went ahead and dropped my OCS packet at that time.
man. And that's a gut check too. Like understanding that like, okay, I can sit here, I can wait it out, I can just buy my time, or I can go an extremely long route, get kicked
Extremely.
in the dick some more.
No, I was just doing the math. I finished the Q course at 40 the second time.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy cow.
So, you know what I mean? These young guys that's on here on these fitness, new regiments that they got,
Yeah, yeah,
you know what I mean? And they're showing off. They look great. They look way better than I do. I'm 56 now. They're still like 20 years junior to me at minimum. And I would have murdered each one of them at 40. I'm just like literally that's my I was the second fittest 18 alpha. You know what I mean? Those guys
Yeah.
were 10 years junior to me, but those, you know what I mean? You know how some alphas are fucking fit, right?
Yeah.
And there was only like one guy that could beat me, and you know what I mean? Like crossed hands, like gotcha. But in a jiu-jitsu fight, I'd beat the shit out of him because I've been doing jiu-jitsu since 2001. I've been wrestling since I was 8 years
No
old.
shit.
Yeah, I'm a black belt, finally,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? It's just those things. That's just my competition, competitive nature.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And take us through that, man. What was it like going back to the Q course? Like that's something that, I became a warrant, but I didn't have to go back to the Q
right,
course to be a
right,
warrant.
right, right.
I went, warrant officer basic course. And then, we have our own course. So it's just different phases and, go right back to the team.
Right, go
Not
right.
so fast for an 18 series that wants to be an 18 alpha. There's there's a good amount of guys, and there's not a lot. There's a good amount of dudes, but that's a whole other amount of commitment. Like you've got to go through everything all
Everything
over again.
more than you know, right?
Yeah.
So sorry about my son. Just started his Mustang outside. He's got to go to work. Uh, so, to get back onto a team, you got to wait 3 years. You don't go until you're a captain. People don't realize that,
Yeah.
it's 3 years minimum. And so, then I went to OCS as well. So that's 16 lovely weeks at Fort Benning, Georgia. Fun times, right? Fun times wearing this ascot and a helmet and marching everywhere.
Yeah.
And then when I arrived, I had my two black boots which were jungle boots, right? And they're like, nope, they got to be all leather, and you're like, so,
Motherfucker.
and so I had to go buy two brand new pair of black leather boots, break them in, and it's not OCS. People think, oh, that's a piece of cake. Nah, it's physically wise, it's not as hard as the Q course or
Yeah.
selection, but it is no
It's no
walking apart.
joke.
Yeah, it's no joke, right? People fail the physical part, uh, and so that was in its own. Then I became a chemical officer.
Well, they branched you, Chem. Oh my
Jim,
gosh.
bro, I don't know how they do that, right? But in the long run, Danny, it was a pot at the end of the rainbow, though. In all actuality, right?
Really?
Because you know what I mean. I'm at OCS, and I was like, oh, I want to go live. You know what I mean? There's no,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to be camo, you know. And so you put your name in a hat, and people come up to you like you can switch while you're at OCS. If one person says yes, then you could switch there. And so this ranger dude from regiment comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, bro, I heard you want to switch. I'm infantry. I heard you got camo." He's like, "I'll switch with you right now." I was like, I found that odd. I was like,
Yeah.
"Why would you do that?" He's like, "Because as a camo, I can get into Ranger Regiment. I can get into SF Regiment. I can get into any other regiment as a camo. It's hard for a 18 Alpha to get into back in the special operations community." I was like, "Oh, I was like, oh, thank you for that tidbit. Thank you for that."
Thank you for being honest.
Right, for being honest, right? I was like, "Woo!" So I had already you already have orders for where you're going, and I was going to Carson, so 10th group was right there. You know what I mean? So when I got done with OCS and OBC, uh, I went like the first stop. When the 10 days before you go sign into your unit. I signed in and I got my 10 days to go find my house and stuff like that. I first line beat line, the 10th group was like, "Hey, I got one of those tabs. You need a camo, right?" And
I'm one of you.
"I'm one of you, please." And he's like, "It's a major, a regiment. The whole group is downrange. It's OIF 3." He's like,
Yeah.
"But I'll get in touch with you, man." He's like, "Give me your number. I'll call and I'll see." And he's like, "Call back in 48 hours." I call back in 48 hours. He's like, "Who's this again?" I was like, "That lieutenant, long time. Oh, yeah. Haven't heard anything. Call me in 48 tomorrow." Call him. Nothing, nothing, nothing. The night before, I got to sign back in. I called him. He's like, "Man, I haven't heard anything." I was like, "Fuck." You know what I mean? Just like, fuck, fuck.
This episode is brought to you by Pure Liberty Labs. Quality supplements designed to elevate your health and performance. Check out their full line of quality supplements, whether you're looking for whey protein, pre-workout, creatine, or a super greens drink. Pure Liberty Labs has you covered. Use my code SecurityHalt10 at checkout today.
So the next morning I go in to the end processing reception station and sign in because I got an appointment. And the lady, I'm sitting in there and my phone rings and it's my wife. And I was like, excuse me, ma'am. I step out. My wife's like, hey, that major from 10th group just called. And he said to call you. You know what I mean? Call him. And I was like, I called, stepped, I immediately called him. He's like, hey, I got a by name memo request for you. I was
Yes.
all right. So I go back into the lady. I had already signed my name. I already signed in. She's like, that's fine, but now you got to get released. So I had to go beg at the brigade commander. Then that brigade was third ACRC and at Carson. They were heading downrange in 05 to Iraq. Good thing they were 140% strength on officers.
Nice.
And then I had to wait. I had to talk to him and stuff. And he's like, hey, at the end of the day, I'm gonna leave it up to you. And we would love to have you. And I did the let me check this. Yeah, I'm going back to 10th group, bro. There's no way I'm going.
Yeah. After speaking with you, I have changed my mind.
Yes. There's no way. I'd rather be in a soft SF unit all day long over going to a conventional unit. I did all I could possible to get out of first cav, and you think I'm going to go back to a regular armor unit? No way.
Nah, I'm a pass, dog.
Yeah, I'm going to pass. So I did my time in 3rd Battalion, 10th Special Forces Group, got to do my degree completion, then went to the Captain's Career Course for 6 months at Benning, and then you go up, to back up to Bragg, start the 18 Alpha course, and that's it's no joke. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. There's nothing easy about becoming an 18 Alpha.
No, there isn't. It's like as NCOs, like, the constant theme is you're learning, is like drinking from a fire hose is extremely difficult to, and they make it that way on purpose. They want to see if you can retain this knowledge, and they don't want you, like, you're going to forget. Eventually you can only take so many back-to-back tests. They're waiting for you to pass. They want to see you pass under the stress. You're going to get to your unit. You're going to learn that. When it comes to being an officer, it's the same methodology of training. You're taking in so much content, you're drinking from a fire hose, but you have to retain it because you're a command. You are a commander. At the end of the day, like, there's not one single cadre at the 18 Alpha course. It's like, oh yeah, they'll forget to learn on the job. Like, no, you have to retain this. You have to take all this data that we're throwing at you from day one, and you're going to have to beat it into your skull, because when you show up to the team, you're the only one that doesn't get any grace. Your battalion commander, your company commander, know that you have a team starting a warrant. If you're lucky, that will help you learn. But at the end of the day, like, you're going to get thrown into situations right off the fucking bat, man. But I feel like you had a leg up because you must have been the most popular 18 Alpha in the course with all the other guys.
But there was, I know there's one other guy that was prior service, you know what I mean? Alpha. And during my whole time, there was 8 of us at OCS, but, I didn't see them all during,
Yeah.
when the Q course, but the other guy was he's a rock star. He's still in. He's a full bird, probably going to pin on a star here shortly.
Damn.
Yeah. He's smart as a whip, really good guy. But yeah, so it was going back to Robin Sage, though, you know what I mean? For the second time, that's and I could just see, when I'm up there briefing MDMP, these guys are like, oh, what the hell is this guy talking about? You remember that look that you gave your captain when you guys were at Robin Sage? You're like,
oh yeah,
what the fuck is this military?
Lines of operation. What? Who do you want me to kill? Just let me know.
No, right? All this paperwork stuff, they didn't know what this is.
I with and through? What?
Yeah. So after doing 7 full mission profiles, as an Alpha, I could teach that, at the time I could. Well, anyway, they team us up with, there was 2 Alphas and the Robin Sage team. They made the junior alpha in charge during mission planning, and they made me the warrant. So I had to do all your
Yeah.
stuff, the saber, the E&E stuff, right?
Yep.
And then I had to go with, they infilled me 72 hours prior so I could set up the rat lines, right? Of course. And, and then like 2 days later after we get there, like the first big mission, right? And they're like, you're in charge, put me in charge. And bro, I went in there and I did all my stuff, my train model, set my recon element in 24 hours later, did a link up 8 hours before the hit. And my recon element came back and they're like, hey, there's a hole in the fence. I was like, oh, because they had it to where you know what I mean? They have those lanes set up where you have to hit it right there at that one spot, right? And I was like, oh, let me go see with you. You know what I mean? And went down there, and sure enough, there was a hole there, and the walker's there. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like my guys did it, right? And we came and we hit from another angle, bro. It was like, it was fucking. They never seen it done like that. But right when it was all over, we're doing our AAR. The actual cadre, not the walker, was like, did you guys cut a hole in the fence? I was like, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. Ask the walker. You know what I mean? And the walker's like, no.
Did you destroy civilian property doing this exercise?
Yes, yes. No, we did not. He was like, wow, that was, you know what I mean? They were like, that's amazing that you fragoed a big mission on the fly with like 30 minutes left to fucking change the whole thing and did it like that with execution. So me and the other alpha, we were done for the last 12 days. We just sat in the G base, chit-chatting with the G chief.
Early success, man. Do it all the time.
You know what I mean? But you learn a lot. Oh, I'm telling you, it was a lot to learn, and to see the younger guys, having struggling, trying to help them, just helping them develop an op order because most of them have never done that before.
Yeah. Dude, it's got to be crazy being able to come back and see it from the other perspective, from the command, the leadership, the 18 Alpha side, and being able to see that young Green Beret and be like, oh my God, like that was me. That was literally me.
No, I had an Echo that couldn't make fucking comms, and that was not me, bro. That was not me.
Sunspots.
Yeah, sunspots. And I'm like, bro, I would still I would fucking throw my jungle antenna up and cut that damn thing to a freak. I did a jungle antenna from this place in Nepal to Kathmandu, 350 miles away on an HF freak, and made the fucking shot. My Signet NCOIC was shooketh that I was on the fucking mic talking to him. Couldn't believe it. I had to throw a rock probably 100 meters up in the air to pull my jungle antenna up. So I can make my shot when I need.
I gotta imagine it must have been so fucking difficult being your 18 Echo on a team. Can't get away with fucking anything.
No. You better get that fucking shot, buddy.
What was it like to finally get on a team after going through all of that and finding out, like, doing everything you can or you could have done at the time to find your way, to make your way into the regiment, knowing that like you had barriers getting in. Once you got there, you had other obstacles. Now, finally, it's like, okay, maybe this is my path. I'm on my path. This is what the universe, so to speak, was navigating me towards. Then you make it to the team. What was it like to finally walk in there and be like, fuck, I'm an 18 Alpha?
It was a good, you know what I mean? I went to 1-1, and I don't know if you ever hear the horror stories about 1-1, but I stepped in.
Went straight to Oki. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. I was going back to 10th group. You know what I mean? I left a wife there. We had bought a house, left the wife and kids there. And I went to Banning. I went to Bragg, and they just stayed there. And when I was at Banning, though, the branch manager was like, hey, I see you were in first group. I can get you to Oki. You know what I mean? Like, oh, sure.
Done.
Well, I literally did call the boss. You know what I mean? I was like, hey, You know, she's like, I know you want to go back. You know what I mean? She's like,
Yeah.
she knew I wanted to go to Okie,
Yeah.
so bad. So we got there. And I mean, we landed with the family with, they got wife and 3 kids and 1,000. Each kid has their own little suitcase. And they're little 3, 5, and 7. And we're rolling
Man.
to the airport and we get there. They put us up at a hotel right across the street from Torrey Station. 48 hours later, I'm gone already. Like PDSS to Guam, PDSS to the Philippines, PDSS.
Damn.
I was like, and it didn't stop for the whole time. I went, we came back from that. We did a train up for the Philippines, did a 7-month deployment for Philippines, came back from that, went on 4 back to back to back to back JSETs, went on JCS, 2 JCS exercises. Yeah, it was gone. I was in Okinawa for 3.5 years and I was probably on island for 10 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people forget that time period. There, like GWAT wasn't just Iraq and
No, we
Afghanistan,
had
the
OAFP.
Philippines.
Yeah, nobody knows about the Philippines, and at the time, right? So when I get there, like land, in Okinawa, 30 days later, we're doing a body exchange for our two fellow Chris and Jack. They got killed in
Yeah.
Holo Island that we're going to, right? We changed them from one aircraft to another. Had the whole battalion out there online, and I'm like, fuck, you know what I mean? It's like, God,
Yeah.
like I thought we were going, it's advise and assist. How can the fucking people get blown up in Holo, right? Well,
IEDs. Yeah.
yeah, IEDs. So I guess my one glory story that I do have, because everybody's got those Afghanistan and Iraqi
Yeah.
stories. Well, when I was in Iraq, I was a camo. I wasn't going out, right? And I didn't go to Afghanistan because first group just wasn't in the game. And but Chris and Jack, when they did, well, we got there in January 2010. They got blown up, I think, 1st of October 2009, and like 30 days in, 20 days in, the Marines. We're co with the Filipino Marines. They're in charge, and they got to go do the operations. We just advise and assist them, right? And we're not, the farthest we can go is a battalion. Where the battalion commander goes, that's as far out as we can go. We're not walking the lines. We're not online,
Yeah.
going through anything. So we do a mission. We're going after Al-Beta Parad and his cronies, which were their AOR of operation was where Chris and Jack got blown up. Right?
Yeah.
So we're going after them. And, they execute the mission, dry hole, right? 30 days later, they're like, hey, let's, you know what I mean? They like pulled out the playbook and like, let's do this again. And I was like, hey guys, that time we went out, we all like drove the same way, and there's probably like 100 vehicles going down the same road. Probably not a good idea. How about if just take this for granted? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We do have
Wild idea.
wild idea. Why don't you take the assault force, about midnight or so, put them on a boat, drive them around the island and drop them off on the south side. And then the command staff, we all just drive the next morning and go pretend like we're doing a command visit to the base. And they're like, oh, okay. Lo and behold, 8 guys. We got 8. We got Al-Beta Parad. He was number 5 at the time.
Fuck yeah.
8 of his guys. My warrant, he was at that LLC. He was a command, great, this like a god in SF type guy. He was an E8 made E9 promotable. He was an E8 promotable and dropped his warrant packet in type guy.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Steve was the best warrant that you could have. Somebody like that much experience on a team. He was in a Ranger regiment and then went straight SF.
Fuck yeah.
Like 30 straight years in soft before he retired. So yeah, he was down there. And so another story about Steve, we were in Nepal once, and this is doing our first JSET together, and I shot the message out, and he comes back and he looked at the message and he's like, don't you ever send that fucking message again until I read it. I was like, what? I'm like, what? He's like, bro, you write like shit. And he was true. And I did. At the time, there was no Chat GPT. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Shit,
Yeah, dude.
I would been. I'd be a rock star if I had Chat GPT because I knew what to say, but I just couldn't articulate it right. You know what I mean? So I would write it up, give it to him, fix it all up, and then he's like, "Let me read it," and I'd go back in there, fix a couple things, and send it off. But yeah, after that first shot of a report, he's like, "Don't you ever send that report again?" I was like, "Got it, Steve."
This episode is brought to you by Titan SARMs. Head on over to titansarms.com and buy a stack today. Use my code CDenny10 to get your first stack. I recommend the Lean Stack 2. Start living your best life. Titan SARMs. No junk, no bullshit, just results. That's a good warrant. Hell
That's
yeah.
yeah, motherfucking the best fucking warrant. And then my team sergeant was Russ Bannister. He was a big 6'6" Cincinnati Golden Gloves guy. So we had three really strong guys on the team. Leaders, and of course that doesn't like, what I mean. Sergeant majors don't like when that happens, right? So of course Steve had a PCS finally after 8 years in Okie. Imagine that. You know what I mean? He had a PCS when we got back uh, from his last JSET was in Thailand, which he ran the whole thing, of course. And then so I didn't have a warrant, and they moved Russ from one team to another because he was just an E7, moved him to another team so he could get his official team time in. And then they put in another guy, and I don't even want to mention his name as a team sergeant. That bad.
I got one of those too.
Yeah. I won't even mention his name. You know what I mean? My whole team knows. As a matter of fact, it's so bad that we're having like a team reunion here next month. I won't be able to make it because my dad's not doing too well, but they didn't even invite this motherfucker. You know what I mean? If you don't invite the team sergeant, you're a sorry motherfucker, right? Like my guys used to beg me. He did that old school push-up run, sit-up bullshit run every day, and we had just gotten our, you know what I mean. We're not going to go talk to fitness. We've just gotten a strength coach in, and I'm like, bro, why aren't we using this motherfucker? You know what I mean? I know what I'm doing, but Jesus, this guy, this is his profession. He's been doing this his whole life. Why wouldn't we take his knowledge and experience and go do it? And I was in there every day, and the only time I would go work out with the team was on Friday, when they go for their longer run. That was my run day. And so I'd go and see Mike Hall every day and was lifting with them, like,
Dude, that's a perfect segue because we got to talk about the fitness side. That's something I didn't understand. I had the hesitancy too, but when Thor 3 first came into the groups, there was a lot of distrust. There was a lot of hesitancy, and a lot of the old heads, a lot of the older team sergeants didn't see the value of it. And I think when I left, teams were 100%, almost all the teams were 100% bought in, because if you look at the competitions, if you look at the best ODA competitions, if you look at throughout all the groups, I think that the best performing teams were the ones that were going in and getting the workouts, getting the actual nutritional support from the staff. I mean, it's a weapon system. It literally is an enhancement to go in there, sit with these professionals, and they're not slouches. They're not just they didn't go to just a community college to get a degree in friggin' nutritional studies. No, they work for professional teams. Some of them like had insane friggin' backgrounds working with friggin' football teams, like you name it. These guys like NHL, and they have all this experience, all this background, and you don't have to pay for it. That's the great part of it.
no, you don't have to pay for it no more, right? We had to pay for that shit back in the day when I was growing up. We had to pay for it ourselves.
Yeah. And it was like around the same time frame, like you finally started seeing programs that were built for the individual and built for performance. Our performance, not performance like friggin' bodybuilders, performance for what your actual job is. Quick shout out to Softfleet. They were one of the first friggin' guys out there, or companies. Doug and his boys were putting out programs. Like I remember the first programs, like you just downloaded them in the PDF form and printed them out and you take them on deployment, but they were specifically built for what you were doing. Like, hey, what are you doing? You're going to be rucking with large amount of weight on your back. You got to work on your endurance. You got to work your cardiovascular fitness. this is the program you want. We're not trying to, like, you will look great, but that's not the priority. We want you to be able to get that ruck on your back and move. And that's something that I realized, like, we train for what we need to do. How are we performing? I'm not going to a friggin' bodybuilding competition and posing. No, I got to be able to run 5 miles in time. I got to be able to do all these movements. And we give it a lot of, we shit on it all the time, but the book came out, Supple Leopard. I remember that first came out, and that like, at first I was good, it's fucking stupid. At the end of my career, I was like, somebody give me a copy of that book, because I
Yeah,
I
please.
want to figure out what I need to do to
Right.
stay in here longer.
Uh, so that, you know what I mean? Just that little tiff that I had with my team sergeant, really, really made me deep dive even more. And at the time, we're going to dip back a little bit. So after, when I was injured, when I broke my
Yeah.
ankle, stuff like that, I became a personal trainer at Fort Hood. I got my personal trainer
Well,
certificate.
that's when it started.
Yeah. That's when you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
when I went to selection the second time, bro, the Sandman, where you had to get in and out of that thing.
Oh yeah.
So it didn't bother. That was easy to me. I could press that motherfucker overhead, slide the whole team in and out. You know what I mean? With
Yeah.
no problem. And the cadre's like, good God.
What the fuck?
You know what I mean? That didn't bother me. Having heavy weight at that time just didn't bother. I was probably 215. You couldn't get on my bench unless you're doing 225 repped out at, you know, 10 to 20,
Yeah.
work all the way up to 345, no problem. Deadlift, squat, all, just real high numbers. Run was, you know what I mean? The running thing didn't come down until after, when I became, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a time that that happened, and you realize, like, oh, because I was doing that bodybuilding stuff at that time, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then when I was in Iraq in '05, where I'm working out with these two other guys, and his name is Kevin Graham and Vince. You know what I mean? Kevin was like, "Hey, we're going to do this workout," and he's like, "I was like, well, okay, what is it?" Because by that time we're doing men's muscle health, fitness, whatever
Yes.
we can get our hands on. That's the workout we would do. Softly wasn't around yet. Nobody was around. Nobody was in this space. And so he's like, "Hey, we're gonna." I was like, "Well, what is it?" And he pulled up on the computer, and it was like, "What? That's easy. 20 minutes, 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 air squats for 20 minutes, as many rounds as you can do. CrossFit, right?" And I was like, you know what I mean? And I was like, "Well, who's your buddy that recommended this?" And he's like, "BJ Penn." I was like, "Get the fuck out of here. You don't know goddamn BJ Penn." He did. Like, his name is, he did. Fucking, this guy was a brown belt in jiu-jitsu in '05, which there was, and
Fuck.
it's a white guy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he grew up in whatever place that where the in California, right? And
Yeah.
he used to train with BJ. Uh and so that first workout after that, bro, I was like, this, what the fuck just
What
happened
the
in 20
fuck is
minutes?
this?
What the hell is this? Right? And went like deep dive hard into CrossFit. Like, I mean, that whole deployment, I came back, ran my fastest 2 miles in 12:16 at altitude in Colorado Springs.
Damn.
You know what I mean? That's cooking with grease for it. And I think at the time, what was I, like 36? You know what I mean? 37.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so and just took me off on a plateau. And when I got back, I was emailing Lauren Glassman, Greg's wife at the time, and they sent over some rings. They sent over some Dynamax balls. They sent over, you know what I mean, any equipment that they could ship.
Yeah.
And at the time, Rogue wasn't around either, so they didn't have plates.
No. Nope.
Nobody wasn't, whatever you can get your hands on, you made it work. But we had to steal, you know what I mean? We had the gym, and we were at RPC at the time. But man, I went down the rabbit hole with CrossFit. Right when we got back, I went to a level 1 course. Then I tried to get like 20 guys from 10th group up to Denver to a level 1 course up there as well. So that's where I, you know what I mean, started really. And then I was just working out. I'd be like, every Friday here, meet here, because I was in the S3 shop.
Yeah.
Let's work out. You know what I mean, and work guys out. So yeah, I was like in phenomenal shape. We didn't have Instagram at the time.
Think of all the sponsorships you could have had.
Right?
Oh, but
36
yeah,
year old something.
dude, that's honestly one of the best ways to fall in love with fitness is like the deployment. And if you can
Well,
keep it going, man, like if you keep it going, it's like, did you is that the when you look back in your journey, is that the beginning for 18 Alpha Fitness?
oh yeah,
Those
yeah,
are
most definitely. So that was that like that catapulted me into a whole thing. And it there was a time. So when I went to I had that break in service. I went to college and I was trying to become a nurse, which I totally fucked that up. That's a whole nother story. Totally bombed that. That's in a different podcast. But so I had all the the anatomy, physiology,
yeah.
chemistry classes and stuff like that. And so, when I became an 18 alpha and we finally got our Thor 3 guys, I had made a goal when I joined back up to go SF, become a officer and go PA school.
Oh,
Okay. And so, you know what I mean? When I was finishing up becoming an 18 alpha, I dropped the packet in for PA school. You know what I mean?
no shit.
Yeah, because I didn't want to do the staff.
Yeah. Yep.
You know why? You don't want to do
Oh
staff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they came back, they're like, you're too old. You know what I mean? I was like, whatever, you know what I mean? I was like, okay. And then my strength coach was like, bro, just go back and get your master's degree. You're a shoot. You're like fucking, you know what I mean? You're it. You're like what all of us strength coaches would love somebody in this profession to be is somebody's got actual experience doing it.
Dude, 100%. That's one thing that I never understood why that didn't. I think there should be a pathway to it
Right.
because even though some of these coaches are jacked, they're fit, there is a hesitancy and there's sort of the like, well, you've never done the job. Some guys break through that barrier. They're able to connect. They bridge the divide, and guys trust them. But if a Green Beret shows up after his service and he's lethal, he's got the background, he's got the identity, he's got the know-how now, like, dude, it's gonna be bought in. Like you're gonna be able to walk in the team and be like, hey, look, I was just like you a few years ago, got my degree. Now I'm in this bitch. I'm your Thor 3 coach. Let's get it.
Let's
Like,
get
fuck. That would be fucking awesome. Like, I don't know why more guys don't find that. And I think it's changing. I think it's changing.
there's a
There's
couple guys that
places. There's that UHP Academy that's now
yeah, with Hunter.
actually, yeah,
Yes.
doing
Yeah.
a pipeline for guys, not just soft guys, but all veterans to be able to go through their training and become a certified coach. I think those are some of the guys that need to get brought into the Thor 3 program. Have a special coach. Yeah, the culture coach.
Right. Yeah. So you know what I mean? I at that time, this is 2012, and I got told in Okinawa I was going to retire out of Okinawa. Uh,
Yeah.
but the battalion commander that was there, he promised it, and then we got a new one, and that guy was like, "Yeah, bro, you got to go." You know, I'm 42. I'm older
I don't
than
know what that guy was saying, but
like,
you're going.
yeah, yeah. You're going back to Bragg. I'll process the army. And I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, you motherfucker, so it worked out though. So I went back and I got my degree, all online, American Military University, got my health sport
Nice.
master's degree. I mean, 18 months, I blasted hard. I was going hard in the plank to get my master's degree. Right when I was finishing up, I was working a job at the UNC Chapel Hill as a ROTC instructor.
No way.
First job out. USA Jobs, there was a position at Lackland Air Force Base to be a strength coach. I applied, did the interview, went back to my ROTC guy. The lieutenant colonel was like, "Hey, I just did an interview for this job, but I'm not going to take it because I didn't want to move my family again." You know what I mean? I was like, I just don't want to do it. And about a week later, the contracting company got back to me. It was like, "Hey, your position just ended that you've only been doing for like 3 weeks." And I was like, "What, motherfucker?" You know what I mean? So I was like, "Hey, babe, I guess I'm going to Texas. I'm going to become a head strength conditioning coach at Lackland, where you train all PJs, Tech Ps, combat
Yep.
controllers, special reconnaissance." And I got here, and that was this is the look that most of what were you? I was like, motherfucker, enlisted Green Beret and officer Green Beret. and I got a master's degree in this stuff. They're like, what do you need? You know what I mean? They're all board. What do you need? And when I got down here, it used to be the 342nd Training Squadron. There were 78 of us that ran the whole pipeline. And when I got here, I was baffled that there was only 78 people that ran this monstrosity of a pipeline. Because you got the PJs that they ran in-dock, right? That's an 11-week course. Once they get done with that, they'll go to pre-dive. And in between there, they got to go to SEER and airborne school. Combat controllers, same thing. They got their little 2-week, they had their 2-week selection course. Do that. Then they go to Keesler to go to ATC. They'll come back to us and they'll go to airborne and SEER school. And what I didn't like about them after they did all that training, then they would like go back to their another selection at Bragg, a final one. And it was like, this is dumb. You know what I mean? After this is like 12 to 18 months in. But anyway, those were my guys. It was called the Red Team guys. I had those guys the longest. And I mean, I used to make monsters. Then I made monsters. You know what I mean? I made if I have you for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, you know what I mean? I can, and when I got there, when I showed up, they had NCOs that were running it. And I was like, hey, can I check out your workout plan? And when I got there, I was like, hey, I'm going to observe. I'm just going to observe for like 30 days before I implement anything. And I got there and I was like, and they gave me the workout and I did like 2 days of them working out. I was like, all right, that's it. You guys are fucking done. We're changing this all up. You guys are like 8 hours. They were working them out for like the whole full 8 hours every day.
Oh shit.
I was like, bro, you guys are killing these guys. You're killing them.
Have you heard of rhabdo?
Rest is just as important as all these workouts that you're doing. So yeah,
sir, my teeth hurt.
Yeah. And they still swimming every day, running every day, working out every day. I'm like, no. So you know what I mean? I dialed it in very detailed, you know what I mean? Put just as much rest as the work. And at the time that those combat controllers, when I first got there, it was 18% pass rate. And that's after they got selected, went to ATC for 6 months, did airborne school, SEER school, and then they go to Bragg and only 18% are passing. Come on, man.
We gotta work on that.
Yeah. So I got them up to like 66% passing.
Hell yeah.
And then it just evolved into what it is now. And it got too big, too fast, in my opinion. Like it became from a squadron, then it became, it's not a wing. It came, you know what I mean? They got to have two squadrons to become a wing. Oh, they became a group. That's what it was, a group. And then they got to be a wing. And now there's 550 people there that does the same amount that 78 used to do. And then when there's 550 people and you used to being at the dinner table, and now you're sitting back there with the little kitty kids, and you have no input, your relevancy, it was time for me to step away. And then, I had a test bed for 7.5 years to figure out what these guys needed. So that's when 18 Alpha, it was clicking during that time, you know what I mean? Because there was other companies out there that was doing it. Soft Fleet was that one.
Yeah.
There was another one. I'm not going to mention it. That was like, and it was like, you guys I'm sorry, you guys are operators. You know what I mean? You did the job. Granted, I love it, but you have no education doing it, And then
I already know which one you're talking about.
then you guys didn't try and test it on real people. You didn't. These programs you're doing were not your programs. These were somebody else's programs that you're doing. This is mine. You know what I mean? This is my program, so I know how to get guys ready for selection.
Yeah. And what's your approach to fitness now versus looking back to where you were back in the day?
I spend about 30 to 40 minutes a day doing mobility and breath work. I do a lot more body weight exercises and movements. When I lift, I don't lift heavy. Like I benched 2 days ago, I was doing 135. Woo! You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nothing crazy, but you still need to move weight, right?
Yes.
It's just some weight. I was And then I did, a superset with bench and cleans, and I was just doing 5 reps of cleans, hand cleans, not a full clean. And I'll never do a snatch anymore because of my shoulder. And snatching in a tactical element is not, there's no relevancies to
Yeah,
it. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Operationally, you're not hitting anything overhead. I'll tell you that right now. You need to be able to
Stand
explode
by, guys. Gonna do the snatch real quick.
and do the
It's,
snatch, right?
it's gonna save our lives.
No need for me to go into that. So those are the things that you learn though as a strength coach. Because when I got there, I'm a CrossFit guy, so I'm thinking I had these. You know what I mean? When I first got there, we were doing fucking snatches, and then I was like, this is, you know what I mean? Just like this is not what these guys need. And then handstand push-ups as well. I had them doing those. And then you realize that a lot of these kids don't know how to even flip up onto the wall and hold their arms out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It just different things that you learn. There's like that. Yeah. Why don't we just do wall walks where you walk your feet up and touch your nose, back and up and down the wall. And that's probably harder than doing the actual handstand push up. You know what I mean? So little things like that.
This episode is also brought to you by Precision Wellness Group. Getting your hormones optimized shouldn't be a difficult task, and Dr. Taylor Bosley has changed the game. Head on over to precisionwellnessgroup.com, enroll, and become a patient today.
You just learn over time when you're doing it with actual students. And these are students that are going soft. It's not like these are students that are not going. So these are people that are actually going soft.
Yeah. It's important to understand too, like your fitness is going to change throughout your life.
Oh, yes.
And the other factor, and we don't talk about enough, is nutrition, like the diet, the importance of making sure that you're putting good quality stuff in your body versus dog shit food from a gas station or a gut truck.
Or any fast food restaurant for that matter.
Dude, exactly. If you tell yourself that it's healthier at Chick-fil-A, spoiler alert, it's not.
I don't drink pop anymore, really. Like maybe like once a year. That's that does. We don't even have any in this house. My wife's from the islands. She's a St. Lucia, so her stuff is all organic, and she's a really good cook. So I'm pretty fortunate with that. We have pizza once a week from a New York style pizza.
You got to find, like, that's the one thing I did realize, like, everything in moderation, right? Everything, like, you got to have, like, we eat clean. My wife and I, like, I do majority of the cooking, so it's like if I'm on my chicken and rice bullshit, sorry babe, that's what we're doing.
We're doing it, baby. Chicken and rice bullshit.
But one of the things that I realized too is, like, you got to be able to enjoy it. My wife loves pizza, so one of the things, the break oven pizza is one of the things that we do, and she loves pasta. So, like, programming that stuff, things that, and you can make it healthy,
Right?
You can figure out what works best for you. But when you eat Subway, Chick-fil-A, Burger King 24/7, and you're telling yourself that a protein shake in the morning is going to cancel it out, like, dude, like, I think a lot of it comes from how we used to live as younger men, that we could get away with it. Like, oh, my metabolism's not gonna look. You're 46, Steve. Yeah. Oh, it's true though. You got to figure out what works for you. And the thing that I really love about the content that you put out there, it's it's encouraging everybody. It's not just for the guy in the pipeline. It's everybody. Like we started talking earlier, people tend to think that veterans and soft guys, like, oh, they always ran, so they're going to get out of the military, they're going to always be in shape. That's not the truth. Guys are now more than ever more susceptible to things like diabetes, freaking heart issues. Like, guys get out, they get comfortable, guys and gals. Everybody's guilty of it. You get comfortable, you sit out there, and then you don't go after something. And it's important to remember, like, fitness was part of your life, begrudgingly for some, but every day you showed up formation, every day you went out for a run, you went out and you did something physical. Don't stop. Find out the movements you enjoy, figure out the things that you like doing, and keep doing them, because maybe you won't have the rock star body that you had when you were 25, but it would be nice to friggin' lose a little bit of weight, get back in a little bit better shape so that you can live longer, because you should be enjoying this chapter in your life. You should be going after it. enjoying life. And the last thing that I want to read is another friggin' obituary from a friend that died of a friggin' heart attack or something that they could have easily maintained and taken care of themselves just a little bit better.
Yeah. So another thing that besides my workout stuff that I do at home, I found and fell in love with like 3 years ago. Jujitsu's off the table for me now. I had total disc replacement last jump that I ever did in Australia. Messed me
Yeah.
up years ago. That was 11 years ago that I had the surgery, and now it just infuriates this side of my.
Yep. Same here.
So
Fusion bros.
my total disc, I got a ball and socket.
No way.
Yeah,
Oh
so
man.
that's why I got to still compete at a high level in
Yeah.
jujitsu. But at recent, this last year, my wife was like, "Okay, you're gonna have to pick between jujitsu or tennis." And tennis is where I fell in love with that like 3 years ago.
No way.
It's, God, that's the worst than love hate relationship that you could ever have with a sport, man. Because you got to move, be able to move, hit a ball with the racket, you know what I mean, and get that thing over a net into a very detailed spot, and the hand-eye coordination on that is insane. And so that's what I like. And then for veterans that's still out there that want to get at, you don't have to start with tennis. That new game called pickleball is a good
Yep.
mover to get out there with some friends. It's always better to work out with friends than it is by yourself. You just go to an open court and you just drop your paddle in there and four people would just go on the court each time. I did that. I just did some contracting work this summer, and I was in the Philippines, and that's the most pickleball I ever played in my life. You know what I mean? I was kind of bored, so I'd go there for 3 and 4 hours at a clip and play pickleball.
Hell yeah.
It was good. You know what I mean? It's just a good workout.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, I used to talk a lot of shit about golf, and then I went to my first tournament and I found out that if you just refuse to just drink all day and you just enjoy the game, you actually play it and you walk or maybe pick up, I read there's a few people that will jog from hole to hole, and I'm like, like, fuck it, let's do it. The most fun I've had in a long time. Like just jog from hole to hole. And I'm like, dude, now it's like, okay, if I'm gonna go play golf, I'm not gonna get a golf cart. I'm gonna walk it. If I get a wild hair up my ass, freaking jog a little bit. Get you out there. You move. You're
Yeah.
doing something. Like, try it, man. I think that's the one thing that I want more people to understand. Like, fitness can be redefined at every stage of your life. Don't and I know a lot of people are dealing with issues, ailments, bad back, shoulders, knees. Figure out what you can still do. Challenge yourself. Pain will dissipate.
Yeah.
You'll wake up with bad back. Stretch out. Home roll. Don't tell yourself the same lie over and over again. I can't do this. I can't do this. You can. You can get back in the gym. There's so many trainers out there that will write up a professional plan for you. So many programs. There's one guy right here, 18 Alpha Fitness. He will literally hook you up.
We'll hook
Be
you up.
be willing to go out there and try again. That's something that I've realized. Like, if and it's not just our older veterans, even our younger ones are falling to the wayside because the VA gives you a rating for how broken you are, and then that's what you tell yourself, "I can't do that." It's like, challenge it,
Challenge
try.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm a hundy. I'm sure you are too, but I know I'm a hundy, but I'm still gonna challenge myself. I can't. I want to be able to pick up my grandkids. You know what I mean? That's my ultimate goal. I want to be able to still play with like whatever my grandkids get here, them motherfuckers better be ready for fucking tennis because I'm gonna be like Mr. Williams on their eyes.
well, Kevin, tell us a little more about 18 Alpha Fitness. How can we, like, what programs do you offer? How do you go about coaching? What's your methodology? Are you app-based? How do you work it?
So all my stuff is all online. I have my majority of my programs are for special operations selections prep. All right. So I got SFAS, Ranger, Special Warfare, which is all the branches of the Special Warfare, PJs, Tech, not the Tech Ps, PJs, combat controllers, and special reconnaissance, because their water con is a totally different. It's arduous than everybody else's. And then I have a Tech P1, which is more focused on land based, but they do have swimming as well because they do have a swimming test in it. I have a Navy SEAL program and the other program. And if you can't start off, those are some high level programs. So if you're just straight off the couch, I highly recommend you start off with my soft prep program. That's going to walk you into one of those higher level programs. Then I have a kettlebell for BJJ program. So since I've been doing BJJ for forever, more than half my life, pretty good with that. And then I have the general. It's called the general program, and that's a 4-day a week kettlebell, a lot of mobility work and core work program. And that is really dumbed down compared to anything else that I have. And if you're a veteran out there, a soft guy, hit me up if you want something like that. I'm always willing to help you guys out. If you guys are in a bind or something like that, I can. It's not going to hurt me to help you out. And so you can find all my programs on www, 18A fitness, but that means alpha fitness.com. Okay.
It's 18 alpha, not 18A.
I know that's
right.
I just did a podcast on Friday, and the guy was like 18A. I was like, bro, it's alpha. That A means alpha. And I was like, B means Bravo. And he's like, oh, I was like,
you uncultured swine.
Yeah. I had no idea. These guys' eyes were like this when I talking to them about stuff. They're like, oh my God, you did some shit. Like, yes.
Oh man. Shit. Yeah, I gotta love the civilians that don't know. Phonetic alphabet, huh? Weird. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today. If you guys are listening, do me a favor, pause, go to episode description, click those links, and follow Kevin on Instagram. All those links are right there. And do me one last favor, head on over to securityhalt.com, check out our new gear and our new swag, and don't forget to support our sponsors. New one just added today, putting it out there, Pure Liberty Labs supplements. If you're tired of low quality protein, I got the answer for you right here. Check them out. Use my code security_halt security _10 for 10% off when you check out on the old website. So check them out. Their information's also in the episode description. I can't thank you enough, Kevin, for being here today, for doing what you're doing and helping the next great generation of Americans earn their beret, whether it's a scarlet one or a green one. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time. Till then, take care. Security Halt Podcast is proudly sponsored by Titans Arms. Head to the episode description and check out Titans Arms today.